Ladies and gentlemen, guests, friends, retailers, here's a warm welcome to PETxChange. PETxChange is a monthly program in where we invite leaders that change the culture on how we do things differently tomorrow, elevating the industry, creating better products, making a better world for pet parents in Southeast Asia and other parts of Asia. Today we have a very special guest, but before we get started, I would like to share with you that we have a questions and answer box to share your questions that will be retrieved in the end of the presentation. We'll have several questions for the speaker. It's about pet retailing, on how you add more value as a chain, how you increase the customer journey, and how you make the pet retail experience worthwhile sharing to the growing pet population. Without further ado, I would like to share and announce the next speaker that's here with us. He's today's CEO of one of the largest retail chains in Southeast Asia. He's passionate, he's on the frontier of creating change and making things better in the pet retail experience that really helps building the community in where we go from a simple pop and mom store to a really nice experience store, which you often see in North America and in Europe. Today, I'm really happy to announce Mr. David. He's the CEO of Pet Lovers Center based out of Singapore. David, welcome. Your sound, David. There you go. Again.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. David, welcome. We're happy and delighted for you to be here with us. 2 years ago, we saw each other also in Bangkok on the Pets Connect conference. Can you share and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm the CEO of Pet Lovers Center, and we are a Singapore company, and we started the pet business by my dad back in 1943. And since 2003, we've been growing aggressively since I got into the business. And my youngest brother went over to Malaysia while I continued to grow Singapore. We had about 6 of them. And today we are proud to say that we have close to 150 stores, in Southeast Asia. And we are in Singapore. We are also in Malaysia. We are in Thailand. We are in Vietnam. We are in Philippines. And hopefully one day we could be in Indonesia and also China.
Okay, that's very ambitious. David, we have a lot of grounds to cover. If you don't mind, we will go directly to it. You're seen and well respected in the customer experience for pet shops and pet retailing. One of the first subjects we want to cover here is the changing shopping behavior for pet parents. You see today in countries like Thailand that you have a lot of pop and mom shops, and you have other shops that really focus on this journey. It's changing as we have seen as well. How vital is it for a retailer to focus on this journey?
Well, maybe I can just share my screen so that I have a little small presentation, which would probably help the people understand this journey a little bit more. And yes, so can the audience see this? Is everything okay?
Yeah.
All right. So a little bit about us, about close to 150 stores, right? And we spoke about this, and Pet Lovers has also won many awards in the past, right? In the pet industry. And you can see we started in 1973, and the journey has changed a lot from what was then and what it is now. And I must say that the retail journey is no longer just about satisfying the customers for a product or a service need, and customers really expect much more. And you can see back in 1973 how even our logo, right, moved over years and years of changing to the proud logo that we see today. And yes, we are in the knowledge economy, and yes, customers expect that we are able to meet their expectations, the experience that is needed. And we have used technology a lot to try to understand the needs of the customers and to be able to satisfy these growing needs. And you can see, right, the customer journey in the past on the far left, back during the early days. This is how we run events, right? Whatever things that we brought to the store, to the event scene, once it's sold, it's very hard to get replenished. But look at us now on the far right. We actually bring only samples, and here in Singapore, the customers go there, they buy whatever they want, they can do their payments, and then they would just collect the products at a store nearest to their home. So you can see the experience has started to change already. And right here on the far left, you see Ukonova, and that was one of the original stores, right, back in 1973. And look at us now, right? It's totally different. And especially now that we have digital technology, right? We are beginning to see the merging and blurring between the digital and the physical space. Customers expect much more. They want to see how we can engage them, right? So we have to be doing things like creating content and shopping experience, right? And each shopping experience, be it in the store or outside the store, or online, right? Customers are expecting the shop experience to be able to cater for the individual needs. So this is what we see, right? Customers want to be excited. They don't just want to go to a store and buy their pet food and then go home. You know, they like to be able to talk to the pet care consultants. They like to be able to chat with our retail assistants to be able to teach them how to look after their pets. And this is our website today, and you can see that a simple website, we spend a lot of money and commitment, and there's a big team focusing on developing this website. And as you know, the journey is important, so customers need to be associated with the brand, right? And the brand must meet their lifestyle needs. The customer journey must be smooth, right? And it cannot be interrupted. Any interruption with the customer journey means that the customer would not be happy. And hence, even for the website, right, we can see that the various technologies that are involved in our website to be able to meet the experience and the expectations of our customers. A simple website like this consists of a promotion engine, right? We must have exciting promotions that would excite the customers. We have a personalization engine. In other words, customer A comes in, customer B comes in, we must somehow know the customer, and to be able to personalize the website, the products that we send over to the customer must be different, must be catered specifically towards that particular customer, right? And take a look at search engine, right? If you type pet food, what happens if you type pet FB, for example? So our website must be able to understand all these, and therefore the product search engine has to be unique, has to have artificial intelligence. It must know what the customer is trying to search for, an example, right? We have a loyalty program, we have a loyalty engine, we have a chat engine, because sometimes when they're shopping, they don't know something, and they want to immediately know what this is all about. And I have a vet, a pet care consultant to be there to be able to look after the customer. We also have a customer service engine. So if there's anything, right, they can log it down. And we also have SEO, and we do a lot of SEO and SEM. So depending on where you are and how you come to Pet Lover Center, we must be able to engage you. Without these technologies, we will not be able to provide the customer journey that is expected of us. So you can see retailing has changed. And this is our Facebook, right? We are very engaged in our Facebook. Today, in the entire Southeast Asia, we have about 300,000 fans, right? And we are doing things like Facebook Live, you know, and during COVID-19 times, right? I mean, if you are in Thailand, you have the night markets, for an example, right? So people want to go to night markets because maybe there's no air conditioning, so they are not affected by COVID. So in Singapore, people are sort of like shining away from the malls, especially during COVID. Nobody can even enter the malls, right? So what we did was that we are doing things like Facebook Live, right? So we are engaging the customers and sharing with them. You know, it's almost like going to a night market with somebody there talking to you, you know, and then we'll be sharing, and then they'll be buying, you know, and we'll be selling them things, for an example. So this is very interesting, right? So again, you see a very different kind of clientele, someone that is engaged on Facebook. And then, of course, we are not forgetting the old fogies that still like the touch of paper. So we even have magazines. So you can see that pet owners comes in various shapes and sizes. Some prefer this, some prefer that. And now being a retailer, we need to be able to accommodate to most of the needs of the customers. And these are just some of the stores that we are at, right? And every store has a different theme. Mm-hmm. And this is in Singapore, right? We even have a grooming center services, for an example, and this is next. And in this case, this is a cowboy town that we did. A lot of customers love these pictures because this was one of the most highly rated pictures on our website. Everybody give us a lot of thumbs up. You can see that our shops are almost like a display gourmet food, for an example. You know, customers go in, it's like going to a library, you know, and I saw a lady there standing there just looking at the product, and you wouldn't believe it, you know, I've got an entire row of treats, you know, and this lady was there for an hour, just looking at every treat and thinking what she's going to buy for the dog. And this thing right here is all shampoo. So I've got more shampoo than your regular departmental store, I must say, right? And these are all the cat trees, and this is in Great World City. And this is in Malaysia. Right, our Malaysian stores are bigger than Singapore, right? And this is in Malaysia too, and this is in Thailand, Icon Siam, right? And this is Icon Siam. This is in Bangkok, right? And this is in Mall Bangkok, and people in the pet industry will probably know Chris Ontang. He's the owner of Dog Gone Smart, and he was with me in Thailand, and we had so much fun together. And this is Mall. This is Bangkok, and this is in Thailand, Bangkok. And right here we are in Vietnam. So I was there too in the grand opening of Vietnam, and very interesting. This store is like in a little Korean town, so a lot of Koreans came and shopped with us. And I saw a lot of Singaporean expats that were in Vietnam too, and they came over and they were really so happy that we are now in Vietnam, right? And right here, this is in Philippines, and that's all. And you can see the customer journey is very vital, both online and offline.
Yeah, so David, one question from a personal point of view. Your parents founded a Pet Lover Center. What made you change your mindset to really have such a strong commitment to the pet industry?
Let me see. Let me pause this for a while. Okay, what made me so committed into the pet industry? I'm actually an engineer by training. I was a professional engineer for many years, at least 7 years. And I worked for for two US multinationals. And I was actually born into the pet family. I started selling dog food when I was 10 years old, right? So I would go to the pet store and I would eat pet chocolates. You know, I remember the Good Boy pet chocolates. I would just open it up and pop it into my mouth. And I've been selling dog food since I was young. And then during my schooling days, my love is actually engineering. And I graduated in electrical engineering from the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. And after graduation, I worked for a US company, and I've learned so much from them, right? And I knew that in the end, I wanted to do my own business and I wanted to run the pet business, but I was too young and too naive to be able to run a company. So I went over, worked for a US multinational, tried to understand how they manage companies. And then finally in 2003, I came back. Okay. And the reason why I had to come back, because my youngest brother, who was managing the business then, had to go over to Malaysia. Right. And the company was so small, you know. So when he went over to Malaysia to start the first pet store, I started to manage Singapore and basically put engineering and IT and everything in the Western management world. I put everything I could and everything that I learned into this company, and because of this, because of IT, because of technology, and because of management skills that I've acquired, we were able to grow the company to where it is today. And yes, it was very tough during the early years.
I can imagine, because we're actually in transition with the pet fair community to really inspire the pop and mom shops to open their mindset and have a long-term vision. And this is quite inspiring on how you have came so far and maybe even go further. So you were referring about the customer journey, and you had also an online touchdown. What are one of the key touchdowns in the customer journey that really adds value and that really makes a pet parent decide to tell that story to another pet parent?
Could you repeat the question again, because it's sort of breaking up here?
Okay, so what parts in the customer journey are key and worthwhile sharing to other pet parents? What is your experience in there?
Well, pet parents are very proud people. You know, whenever you see a customer and when he or she is holding on to his dog, I mean, that is really the object of desire. So when pet parents are walking around with their pets, right? The first thing that engage two pet parents is that, wow, you know, look at your baby, you know, and oh, the fur is so nice. What do they feed? So you can see that the connection between pet parents and even the store holders is really the pet itself. And what is the main thing that connect two pet parents together? To answer your question, it's really the pet. And what connects the pet shop to the pet parent is the knowledge and the understanding of how to look after their pet, right? And if their pet is healthy and if their pet are doing well, pet parents are very proud and very happy that the pet shop is able to help them look after their pet. And then through that relationship, the word of mouth, pet parents will be able to share with other pet parents the service that they got, the kind of commitment that we have given to the pet parent and their pets. And that's how, by word of mouth, things are being shared. And recently with technology, I mean, people are sharing their opinions on Facebook and everything. So the world is somewhat changed slightly.
Yeah. So David, we have questions coming in from the audience about e-commerce online. We have a subject to address about e-commerce. I want to touch base first on another subject, which is Southeast Asia is in need of great brands for pet food, snacks, accessories. We see that today, like at Pet Fair, you see many North American companies venturing, exploring. There's this challenge whether you can go as a brand directly to an e-commerce platform and start selling. While in Asia, the brand is rather unknown, and it requires a story to be told and to build up brand values. So with new arrivals, would you recommend to choose selling first or tell the story first in growth markets like Southeast Asia?
I think there's no doubt that emotion sells, and retailers and brand owners alike cannot neglect the emotional part of the business. And whether you, depending on your business strategy, you may be able to sell direct through an e-commerce platform, or you could even go through a distributor, or you could sell directly to a chain, which a lot of people are doing right now in Singapore. However, what is very important is that brand owners and themselves must understand the strategy on how they want to approach a particular country. That's number one. The other thing is that they must know very clearly, right, for that demographics in that company, how are their shopping behavior. I think we all know that in many countries like China, e-commerce will be a very big platform with approximately maybe 18, 19, 20% of total retail. So my question to brand owners is very simple. Do you want to have 20% of the pie? Or maybe in Singapore, where it's about 8%, do you want to be at the 8% of the pie? Or do you want to be with a retailer which has reached, right, to almost 92%, if 8% is on e-commerce sales? Or would you like to be a retailer like me? I am in both online and offline on social media with our own website, and we are also in all the platform multipliers. So how would you like to approach the country depends on the preference of the brand owner. So there is no right or wrong way, right? But knowing the demographics and the shopping behavior of the people in the pet industry for that particular country plays a very important part of the decision of the brand owner.
So that's very interesting that you shared this. If you would recommend new brands that have built a great reputation overseas, well, what would be the one thing you would recommend them to do?
If a brand wants to go to a particular country, I think it would be, of course, you ask a very tough question, because whatever I say can be about myself, but I don't want to talk about myself. So what's very important is that I would say that when you want to have a brand, you must go with someone who understands both online and offline. Because if you go for an online approach, then you are limiting yourself to, in Asia, less than 10% of the market. But however, if you want to be in Southeast Asia, I would recommend trying to look for a good distributor or a good retailer that understands both online and offline. I think this is key.
Mm-hmm.
So you have online, you can have a distributor, that's one, or you can work with the retailer. But whatever decision you make, right? If he or she or that distributor only know about online and don't know anything about offline, or know about offline and don't know about online, then I would recommend someone who understands both, and also have someone who's very savvy on the digital space.
Yeah. So I have one question that also touches base on this subject, David, if I may. For the online part, you shared you have like a loyalty program. Do you use a kind of a membership thing that makes this engagement stronger?
Our membership program has been around for many years, and right now, when customers shop with us, they actually collect points, and points can be redeemed both physically or digitally, right, into PLC dollars. And from PLC dollars, you'll be able to use the PLC dollars to offset the number of items, offset the cost of your next purchase. So, and this can be done digitally very efficiently on their handphone and on their app, right? We have many plans on our digital program. Like right now, people are asking, pet lovers, you are in all Southeast Asian countries. What are your plans? I have these points, and if I'm in Bangkok, can I use these points to buy stuff and things like that? The answer is yes. So we have plans to have an Asia-wide point system where all pet lover center can use these points to shop in every country that they wish to shop at.
Okay. The next subject we want to touch base on, and we have questions coming in. I'll try to match them with the subject that would make sense in the structure of this interview. You have different generations over time, and you see like millennials are different to generation X, and now you have the successors of the millennials are zillennials. They view things totally differently, and it also happens to be that Asia is really full of zillennials. How would you approach that with a good story among your retail customer journey or brands?
The approach to storytelling, I would say that people, I think there's this word called providence food. People like to know whether a particular food or a particular toy is good for their pets, and whether it would be beneficial to the pets, for example, the dog food. And people want to know where it's from, especially the younger generations. They like to read, they want to understand, are there preservatives inside? So I think the brand story that brand owners need to tell continue to be very important parts of the equation. Now, how do we tell stories for the older generations versus the Generation Z and the millennials? Well, the storytelling can come in many ways. Like, for example, the younger generations, they like to browse on the web. They like to see the brand story online, for an example, and the approach tend to be more digital, right? And the older generations, right? Some of them, you wouldn't believe it. I've got people that don't even have a handphone, right? Or they have the Nokia handphone that you can only dial a number, for an example. Well, we have those customers, and if we tell the stories through magazines, for an example, right? And a lot of them don't have the internet, and they're so afraid of the internet. So we manage them through phone calls, for an example, right? They can call us directly, or they like to go to the store. And then at the store, they build a relationship with our customers, right? My pet care consultants and my staff, and we tell the stories through brochures that are placed at the store. So I always tell my staff that what is very important is that when you go into the store, we not only want to be able to engage the customer, but the customer must come out having an education, right? Yeah. And the education could be in the form of a small video camera telling the story of the brand, for example, because most of the brands, we have this little small television or LCD panel, and we tell the stories, right? And sometimes we tell the stories, we hang brochures by the side so that they can read about it. Yeah. Or we have this little QR code by the side. The new boys can actually use their handphone and scan the QR code, and it goes immediately to my website. And from the website, there are videos and everything that could engage the customers. So we have many kinds of people in Asia, but we want to make sure that we are all encompassing as far as the storytelling and the journey is concerned.
Yeah. So David, holding on this subject, we got a question about Omni Channel. Omni Channel means like the full experience. You cannot cut corners. There's a social media engagement. How would you define Omni Channel to new retailers?
An omni-channel approach is about how we are engaging our customers through multiple channels, right? So as a brick and mortar store, we can sell things offline, of course. We sell things online. But when we are online, right, for example, if you come to my website, you actually know what are the products that are sold at a particular store. So we link the experience is all encompassing. Like, for example, I'm at my store or I'm at home. I go to my website, I saw a product, I click onto the product and I say, hey, this is nice. Pet Lovers can deliver to me in 2 days. But there's a Pet Lovers just a stone throw away, because opposite my house is a small mall there's a Pet Lovers there, I remember. I wonder if they sell there. So they can actually click onto that, and then they can look for the store that they want, and we will say that this product is now available. So they can, now they know that, hey, I can actually go down to the store because it's available there right now. And then he says that, I saw another product, but this product is not available at the store, but then it's available in another store. But I don't want to go to that store. So I click online, right? And technically speaking, the customer will know that this particular product is not in my warehouse, which means that I cannot deliver to you in 3 working days or 2 working days or even 1 working day. But I know that this product is in store B. And therefore, my team would go to store B, bring the product, bring it back to the headquarters, and then deliver to the customer. And we let the customer know, wow, we cannot deliver this today or tomorrow, but I can deliver it in 4 days because it's in another store. I'll pick it up and I bring it for you. So you can see the entire journey they can come in many ways. Facebook, take for an example, Facebook, right? When they are browsing my website, and I put a little cookie in a little cookie in the browser. They go to Facebook, and suddenly I know that they have been looking at this product, and then I can give them a voucher in Facebook telling them that, hey, this is something for you. Maybe you might want to come, or maybe you might want to buy online. So you can see that Omni, we are almost like, and then when you are and when you're searching for something, right? I know that you have been to my website, and I know that you have bought something. And when you're on Google, suddenly Google knows that you have been looking at this. And then by the side, we show you all this stuff that Pet Lover has this. You know, so we are everywhere, and being everywhere is the whole concept of Omni.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, engaging the company in every aspect is really what Omni Channel is all about. Even now, we are doing things like on YouTube, right? If you saw a particular product, and suddenly you would see the YouTube video, right, recommending you to watch this video, and this video is sitting in my website, for an example.
Yeah, you see, nowadays we see brands coming in. They directly on board to e-commerce. They don't have a presence in Southeast Asia, and after 2 years, e-commerce is only doing discounts. Festival after festival, discount after discount. What would be the long-term effect if a brand doesn't go to this omni-channel strategy, also offline? What would be the consequences?
One thing I know very clearly that discount is a very important strategy for most. And especially during COVID, a lot of people are getting out of jobs. People want to have buy a cheaper product. But what's really important is that whether you are a pet store like me, or you own an e-commerce store like us, I think we need to be competitive in terms of pricing. And competitive does not mean it is the cheapest. So you can have a lot of people doing a lot of super cheap discounts in Asia. However, sometimes when it's too cheap, people get worried. So I would say that we must be able to have a wide distribution channel. That's number one for brand owners. And the second thing is that you must be able to have, whoever you are working with, your products must be properly and competitively priced. And if your products are priced at the cheapest, you may be going for a particular group of customers which may not be the kind of clientele that you want. So for me, what I would like to do is that when people come and shop with us, wherever you are, whether online, offline, social media, I would like to let the customers be rest assured that our prices are competitive, we are fair, right? Yeah. You can exchange the product when something is wrong, and we are everywhere. And we stand behind the brands that we carry, and we have a very strong after service team. And this is important. building the confidence to shop with us become more critical than price alone.
That's interesting. Thanks there, David. It becomes a wider approach, and it's not a single approach. We hope that this trend will be shifting, and also more retailers will be inspired to also adapt more technologies and data to move to a better way, a better direction, instead of moving to a commodity business that is only on discounts and discounts that will not help brands in North America or Europe to come to Southeast Asia. I want to briefly dive into the recent periods, and the recent period was really hectic for many. Roller coaster. Retailer shops have been closed for a while. How was this experience to you, and how have you managed to still serve your customers?
Wow, so we are talking about COVID-19 now.
We do.
Yes. So yes, like every country, Singapore was hit by COVID-19, and unfortunately, we saw many different phases of COVID-19. Okay, when there was a lockdown in Singapore, we started in different phases of lockdown. And during the first phase, we call them a circuit breaker. Circuit breaker number one, every retail store have to close, except for supermarket and pet essentials. So when that happened, our sales was somewhat affected, but it wasn't that bad because our stores were still open, right? And people were afraid to go to the stores because everybody's afraid of COVID. So what we saw was that during the circuit breaker mode, right, we saw an approximately 2.5 times increase in sales from our online stores. Okay, 2.5 times. So that was very interesting. People were buying online because they were afraid to go to the malls. Now, our business then was still quite good because people were stocking up. They were afraid, and they have a reason to stock up because we actually had out of stock situations because of logistics, right? So people were buying both offline and online. And then the unfortunate thing happened. We went into circuit breaker 2. During circuit breaker 2, we had to close our stores. And that was a very, very painful experience for pet lovers. Can you imagine overnight we have to close every store? And we were only given 5 hours to respond. So this is incredible. 5 hours, and everyone were basically rushing to the stores, right? And they were just buying up the entire store as much as they could. And on that day, I remember I saw a 19 times increase in online sales. 19 times. Every online player or home delivery person will tell me this is crazy, right? Nobody is prepared for this kind of sales. My server crashed. We put it up again and it kept crashing and we kept pushing it up, right? It was really chaotic, right? And when it was time, we were supposed to close at 10. And even at 12 a.m., the crowd was still coming in and we got to tell them we got to close. So sales went up and we were backlogged all the way for 1 month. It was terrible, right? And we weren't ready to turn a 100% brick and mortar store. 70 stores closed and everything went into online. It was impossible to cope. Plus, we had issues with we had to comply to social distancing rules. We were only allowed that many people. So we had to engage the customers online, telling them what we're trying to do, COVID-19, what we are doing. We were just kept telling stories over and over again, and hopefully people understand. We had like from 3 or 4 customer service to basically an entire team of customer service, all working from home, responding to customers. It was tough, right? And now that the stores are all open, we experience a different kind of sales. The sales online started to drop because it's no longer needed. Our stores are slowly coming back to shape, right? People are buying offline. And so the next question is, so David, how are your sales now so-called online? Are you still having this kind of surging volume? It was stopped immediately. Everything just took a dip, right? And the question is, oh, so your online sales took a dip, but tell me, what's the baseline now? Okay, so that's a very important question. So I would say that normally for online sales, because of the onboarding of more and more people are more familiar shopping online, generally we should see about 35% increase year on year for online sales. But basically because of this COVID, right, we accelerated the online sales by almost 2 years ahead of time. So what is the new baseline right now? If we were here, which is pre-COVID, we were here like that. And then when the stores open, we are here. And then basically we were supposed to be here 2 years time, and we are today. So basically what happens is that everything accelerated for the online. And believe me, when you run an online store, right, during peacetime, you think you have everything under control, but during wartime, which is war with COVID, the logistics, everything, the slightest mistake would lead to many, many things. It's sort of avalanche. So during this time, we have learned so much. While my team was struggling, right, I was actually sitting down, taking notes. What are the things that we should do? Oh, we can't do this, we cannot do that. We were doing fine tuning of software and everything that we could do to manage the situation during COVID. And now, as of today, we fixed 99% of all the things that we saw that was volume related. We fixed it. And now we are hoping that when we are not hoping for another COVID, resurgence of COVID, if it ever comes, we hope that with the new processors and the new things that we've put in, and those things that we have updated, we will be ready.
Yeah. So when you were selling online, like a lot of questions we get, like how do you add value online? How do you tell a story? How do you share the product features? And a couple of months ago, we had this PETxChange session with the president of Wasava, and we learned that telemedicine in the veterinary industry is really booming. Is there a way to engage with pet parents online on this level, also from a pet shop perspective?
Well, I think we are talking about pre-COVID and post-COVID. I got to be very honest with you. During COVID, it was firefighting, right? And not much experience as far as the products are concerned, you know. But post-COVID, during COVID, what was our strategy? How do we engage the customers? We have a pet care consultant chat line online. So in other words, we have a dedicated vet that is there to be able to answer pet-related questions. And then if you come to our website, we not only talk about the product, we have videos, we have links back to the mother company, that the owner, back to the mother company that tells stories about the brand. We also have a pet care consultant, okay? And this pet care consultant, we have a few of them working online to be able to answer questions, to be able to help the user understand the product more. I think this is very important process.
We received a number of questions ahead of this session. I would quickly, because we're getting questions in through the Q&A box and the chat box, would like to stand still on a few of those questions. I'll ask our team to share the screen. Some of these questions, yes, obviously touch base with next year developing, because what we see today is a strong growth, but also as a community in Shanghai or in Bangkok, we really want to shape the industry to add more value. So how do you see the market developing in the next coming years?
I think Southeast Asia, it's developing very, very quickly. And Malaysia is growing very quickly. Thailand is growing very quickly. Philippines and Indonesia. So how do I see this developing in the coming years? Take a look at Singapore. I think Singapore has about maybe 110 million USD, and just Thailand alone is 700, 800, 900 million, and maybe close to Singapore is 100 million, yeah, almost 100, 10 times, you know. So I think Southeast Asia is growing very, very fast. And I think brands that want to come to Southeast Asia is something that is worth doing, because as you can see, the markets in other parts of the Western world has been they too have been growing. But if you take a look at emerging countries, I think Southeast Asia is someplace that is very exciting, and I'm very excited to be here in Southeast Asia.
Okay, if we can continue to the next question, we have another one. We collected a few of them. We can also skip one of them. This question says, the biggest pet shop chain in Southeast Asia is about animal welfare. Is there any charity or an alliance in the next 3 years that we can expect or foresee?
This is very interesting, because for Pet Lover Center, we actually have a charity arm. Okay, and in this charity arm, we not only contribute to pet welfare in Singapore. We have this, we call this people, pets, and planet, the 3 Ps, right? And in this charity arm, what we do is that every year we work with pets, we work with people, and we work on things that work on the planet. So like for example, every December we have a huge what we call a pet food drive, and Singaporeans are very, very generous when it comes to feeding the strays and the less fortunate dogs. So we literally work together with the brand owners, together with ourselves, right? Literally selling pet food at very, very cheap prices to be used, to be donated to all these charities that we help every year. So if you go to our website, right, and you click onto the charity arm, you can see the years and years of efforts that we put in, and everything is very, very well documented.
You see this trend is becoming very important. While we go to the next question, is for the upcoming pet parents. As you said, they're very proud. They really want transparency and want additional effort from brands and from retail chains or actors supporting the environment. And you see many on packaging, many positive intent to a better environment. Well, we have a look at this question. I haven't seen it before. I cannot read the first part. How difficult is it to get into Asia as a Canadian company?
Wow, Asia loves Canadian companies. So it's very easy to get into Asia for Canadian companies. That's right. So I have First Choice and also Pro Nature. And I also have Orderlock. All these are Canadian companies that I have been working with for many, many years, right? and Akana, that's another brand. So especially for Singapore, right, and even for Malaysia and Thailand, it is not too difficult for Canadian companies to come into Asia, not at all. However, I heard that recently, in the past, beef was not allowed into Singapore because of mad cow. But I think things have changed, and now they are even allowing US beef companies to import beef-related dog food into this part of the world. I think Malaysia is still quite strict, and Thailand is still quite strict. But as far as Singapore is concerned, it's not an issue.
Yeah. If we look to the lower question, David, you see this adoption on insect protein. I was in Orlando in February, and CBD was really a hot item there. You see an adoption for like cricket flour in dog treats or new novelty ingredients?
Novelty ingredients are actually depending on what kind of novelty ingredient you're talking about, right? Like for example, I'm sure you have heard of a brand called PETxChange. And PETxChange basically sells dog food, and they first started off possum. Possum is a really ugly thing, you know. It's almost like gremlins, you know. And it actually took off as a novel meat, and it was done pretty well. So I think people can accept possum depending on who's managing the product. But however, when it comes to cricket flour, I have people approaching me to talk about, hey, you know, I grow a lot of here in this part of the world we call them grasshoppers. So I'm not sure whether, I think cricket flour and grasshopper flour is very much the same. And I think in Singapore we have someone even making a kind of worms, you know, that turn into dog food. So I would say that this is a niche product. Yeah, it's very, very niche. And what this means is that there are animals that are basically have allergy to certain kind of proteins, and these customers, right, because of the problems that their dogs have, may be willing to try things like grasshopper, cricket, or maybe frog meat. That's another one, frog meat, and what else? Yeah. So I think, and then people are willing to try rabbit meat. Rabbit meat apparently is doing quite well in Singapore. So however, we don't publicize this too much because the rabbit people might get somewhat being insulted. But it was by accident that I brought in rabbit meat, but it seems to be doing okay.
Yeah, I think we have one more question, but if you don't mind, and looking at the time, I would like to ask you also a question that came into the Q&A box. I know the person, he is in Canada, so I'm obliged to ask it, otherwise we'll have post thing going on. If you look, going back in the presentation, if you look to the customer journey, that pet parents actually visiting the stores and buying, how do you see that balance between online and offline in purchase? Oh, David, we lost you. I think. While we're waiting for David to get the sound back,
things are not working too good here. You seem to be coming in and out, Manu.
Okay.
Would you? Is it clear? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clear. Thank you.
Could you type it and I'll try to answer that?
Okay. So I don't know if you can. I will copy paste it to you.
Oh no, you are clear now. Now it's okay.
So we have. So how often are pet parents visiting stores and actually buying? And the second question: how different is that to online? So what is the most effective sales channel?
Most effective sales channel. Okay. We see a lot of our members coming in at least 1.2 times a week. So to the retail stores, and when it comes to what is the most effective way right now, if you have to choose one way, right? In Asia, I think it's still the brick and mortar. But it's not good to go one way, because as a brand owner, you always like to maximize your exposure. So therefore, whenever I launch a new brand, I will launch it at the retail stores, I will launch it online, I will launch it in all platform multipliers, and I would even launch them. You know, Grab is quite famous, right? I'm actually working with Grab to be able to grab dog food now. So in short, I would definitely go multi-channel.
Then I have another question, one of the last remaining questions. Sorry, everybody, we're over time. The other question has, let me get that question. Okay, so this question comes from a country in Europe, Sweden, where the question is asked, super premium dog food segments, which countries and who is interested in super premium today in Southeast Asia?
Wow. Honestly, if you super premium is always come with one thing, are very high priced. Okay, that's why it's super premium, but it's also super good. And people have asked me whether, if you want to talk about a country, right, which country would you approach? A lot of people look at Singapore to launch their super premium dog food. The reason why they want to launch in Singapore is because the GDP per capita for us is almost 80,000 USD, which is basically even at that level equivalent of the United States of America. And we have a lot of high net worth customers all over the world living in Singapore, studying in Singapore, working in Singapore, owning companies in Singapore, right, and companies that service the entire Southeast Asia. So what this means is that if you have a super premium dog food, you will have the right clientele to be able to buy them. And the other question is, how about the rest of Asia? The rest of Asia have the super rich and the people who really love their dogs. So to be able to approach that kind of clientele, for an example, you need to work with the right retailer that has that kind of clientele. For example, if you work with a retailer that is in the suburbs and not many and is really sort of not appealing, right? Then you don't have that kind of clientele. So in Asia, you got to be, if you have to choose a country to launch a super premium, I think Singapore is a very good place. And a lot of people, a lot of pet shop owners and a lot of business people like to come to Singapore, look at the products that we carry, and then go back and approach the manufacturers or the brand owners that I want this brand to. It's very common for people to look at Singapore that way, right? And then secondly, if you want to go to the other countries, look for a good retailer. Look for a good retailer that has the right clientele. Okay? And that retailer must be savvy enough to be able to not only have the right clientele, but it's also savvy enough to enter into the online scene to be able to promote your brands.
Okay. David, it's 10 minutes overtime. Are you willing to questions or do you need some water in between? It's up to you.
I'm fine with my water here.
We can either have it delivered by Foodpanda or Grab. We have a question coming in. I think it's from Thailand. It's saying, how do you develop an O2O channel to PLC? I'm not yet. But
O2O as in?
I actually don't know.
Online to, yeah, I think we need to define what O2O means.
maybe we get a question or answer to that question right now. Let's quickly move on to another question that.
Oh, online to offline, yes, and offline to online. Okay, got it. Precisely what I mentioned, because customers can come in various forms, right? If you go to your website, you need to make sure that services that you have online, which is your website, must link very closely to your offline. And then we have offline promotions and we have promotions that are online as well. Like for example, if we are on Facebook, we are promoting new products. And when customers see that, they can buy it at a point of time, and later on they would probably know that you can buy it on our website, or you can go to our so-called stores to be able to buy that. So online to offline and offline to online is something that is expected of all retailers today. Mm-hmm. Like for example, if you let's say that you are buying on Amazon, you are basically buying online, but it doesn't link you or have anything to do with the offline stores. At least in Asia, I know Amazon or some other Amazons in Silicon Valley, they have their offline stores as well. So having a close relationship, both offline and online, is key.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I hope that question is being answered by Farita. I think, David, we're going to conclude. We're getting more questions. I have to respect your time, and I would like to thank you very much for your time today and your leadership, sharing the way and hopefully inspiring retailers. We would like to also herewith welcome all the audience and pre-registered people that could not make it to a session on October 14 on where all retail, all distributors will be entitled to a special portal and get in touch with brands from all across the world, focusing on the markets in Southeast Asia and how you can venture forward. David, you're obviously most welcome. You'll have your own page and you can connect with everybody you would like, and the whole team as well. And I hope to see you next year, face to face, at Pet Fair in January, which we recently have postponed. Thanks again for your time, and looking forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Manuel. Thank you. And to all the participants, thank you so much for attending this webinar.
Okay.